Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Grayboardgamer here with my next playthrough series. This time I'm playing a game that was requested by one of my Patreon supporters, and I'm playing Apex, Theropod Deck-Building Game by Die Hard Games. Let's get the box open and get it set up. The game takes place in two areas or two boards. At the top of the main large board you see here, that is the hunting grounds, which we'll set up in a moment. First, we're going to set up our deck and get the nesting grounds set up. The first thing we will do when setting up our nesting grounds is choose our Apex deck. And you can see there are several to choose from, beginning with 3 easy options, 2 moderate, and 2 hard. And that difficulty rating is in reference to how difficult it is to play the deck and how much you need to pay attention and how hard it is to successfully manipulate that deck to win a game or to make it through and defeat the boss, in this case for the solo version. And I'm going to choose, of course, easy so we can see as much of the game as possible. And I'm going to use the one in the middle here, the Gigantosaurus. That's the one we'll use for our playthrough. So I'll pull that deck out of the box. We have the deck for our Gigantosaurus, and here is the indicator to let you know that this deck is for that particular dinosaur. And that says that on all the cards for this deck, so it's easy to identify. Now for the solo game, you do not use these ones with the yellow. So these 3 cards, the alpha cards, juvenile, adult, and veteran, these will not get used in the solo game, and they will go back into the game box. And then you will take, and notice that all these cards now say Apex, and this will be your Apex deck. Now you'll set aside the Apex Juvenile card and 5 Apex Hatchling cards. And we see our adorable little hatchling going after the dragonfly. The art is really fun on these cards. I really like it. So we'll take our 5 hatchling cards and our 1 juvenile card, place them to the side, and we'll put our Apex deck down. The Apex deck, or what's remaining of the Apex deck, will get shuffled. Give it a good mix, and it will go face down on the Apex deck location in the nesting grounds. Next, we will create our starting draw deck, and to do so, out of the box you will take an egg card, and you want the egg without the evolve points on it. And you'll see that this card is also an egg card, but it has the evolve points on it, so you do not want evolve points on the card that you're using to set up your deck. You'll find one of these in the box. And then in the directions for the solo setup, it tells you to take 4 prey carcasses, which we have, and 1 titan carcass. And add those to the cards you set to the side, which were our Apex Juvenile and 5 of our Apex Hatchling cards. These will all get mixed together, well shuffled, and create our draw pile. Now our draw pile, which consists of the 12 cards that we just looked at, is mixed up and ready to go, and we will draw 6. And that will make our starting hand. The rest of it will go onto the draw pile. And we can see and I'll give you more explanation on how these work as we go through the game. But we got 3 of our hatchlings, 1 juvenile, and 2 prey carcasses. Those will be our starting hand, and I'll just put those off to the side for now. The nesting grounds is set up. Now we'll concentrate on the hunting grounds here, and we'll create the hunt deck first. And to do so, we go into the box here, and let me grab this along with the divider. Each of the dividers let you know exactly what you're going to need when you're building the hunt deck. We're going to need 5 of these prey cards. So let me put that divider back. And just like all the cards in the game, they're easy to identify because they say prey. And there's a lot of them in here, so no 2 of your games that you're playing are going to end up being the same, which is nice. There's a lot of replay value in here since we're only drawing 5 of these prey cards for our deck. So there may be cards that surprise you completely because you've never seen them before, unless you've done dozens and dozens of playthroughs. But we're going to take 5 of these. I'm just going to put them face down here. And those will be part of our hunt deck. Next, we're going to do the big game. And it is the same according to the rulebook and on the divider, so you don't have to keep looking in the rulebook. Once you know how the setup goes, you can just read on the divider card. And we're going to get 5 of these big game cards also. Those will help make up our hunt deck. Next we have the Titans. And the Titans, we'll get 2 of these. So we'll give these a quick mix. And again, there's not as many of them, but again, you're only getting 2 of them in each game. So there's still plenty of variety there. And then we'll do the same. Oh, let me put these the right side up. With the Menace. And you will get 2 of the Menaces that go into the hunt deck. Let that focus. So we'll grab 2 of those. After the Menace, we'll grab a Predator. And in the solo game, there's only going to be 1 Predator. If you look on the card, the Predator says two per player, but in the rule book it states to only have 1 Predator. So I'll just grab one out of the middle at random, place it in there, and then we're going to get our boss. And just like the other ones, you're only going to choose 1 of these, and there are several to choose from. And I don't think I've run into all of these yet either, so this game may end up being a boss I've never seen before. So we'll just grab one random again, place it down, and that's going to be our boss for the game. Except this time we are going to look at the boss card. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Have not played against him, but we need to get the minions. I say him, it could be a her. So we take the minion deck and we're going to look through it for any cards that say Tyrannosaurus Rex. And we're going to do that and get out each of the minion cards that say Tyrannosaurus Rex on them. Tyrannosaurus Rex only has 2 minions, which is the low end of having minions as far as a boss goes, because it can be anywhere up to 6. So you have to look through the whole minion deck and make sure you get all the cards. There is a handy chart in the book, in the rules, that tells you how many minion cards there should be. That way you can be certain that you have the right number of minions. Give all of these cards, get mixed together and shuffled to comprise the hunt deck. Give these a nice good mix so we don't know what's coming. And then we'll get placed face down here on the hunt deck space. Next we're going to build the evolve deck. We're going to use the entire evolve deck, which I believe is 38 cards. We'll give this another good mix. And that's going to go down on the hunting grounds on the evolve deck space. We'll use this throughout the game to help us evolve and gain some abilities in order to get more cards, because we're going to need lots of attack, I'm sure, to go after the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So those are mixed up well and placed on the evolve deck space. Next, you're going to create the Affliction deck. And this is called out in the rulebook according to how many players you have. For a 1 to 2 player game, you're going to have 15 of these flesh wounds, 6 of the severe trauma, and 3 of the viruses. I had already shuffled these, but let's shuffle them up again. Let that focus. There we go. And the Affliction deck will get placed face down on the hunting grounds. Oddly enough, it'll be placed on a space called Affliction deck. Pretty easy to follow. Next we have the alert cards. They're all the same. And those just go face up on the alert deck space, and you'll draw those when the rules say you have to. And we also have 2 of these disaster area cards and 3 defensive stance cards, and they go right up here, face up, and again, these will get placed down whenever called for by a card or the rules. Now we'll set up the environment deck. And before doing so, you'll take Extinction, Asteroid Impact, place them off to the side, and also the 3 Emergence Cards will get placed off to the side for later use. And then the remaining environment deck will get shuffled, and we'll draw 7 cards at random from this, so you never really know exactly what environment cards are coming up in the game. 1, 2, 3. We have our 7 environment cards. We have our 7 environment cards. They're already shuffled. Next, we take our Asteroid Impact and Extinction. Asteroid Impact will go on the bottom, followed by the last card that we'll draw, which will be Extinction, and it will go on the bottom of the environment deck. And that will go in the environment deck space. And then we have a choice. We have these Emergent Cards, or Emergence Cards, and these will go on top of the environment deck, and we can choose how difficult we want to make the game, because this deck is a timer. Of course, when we get to Extinction, the game's over, or that's going to be the last round of the game. So the less cards that are in this deck, the quicker we're going to get through it. These Emergence Cards stop ambushes from happening, and that'll make sense when I go over them, and keeps the boss from coming out when these show up. So you can choose between 3, 2, 1, or 0 of these. 3 being easy, moderate, 1 being hard, and then 0 being what they call brutal. I want you to see as much of the game as possible, and it's a hard game to begin with, so I'm not making excuses saying that because I want you to see the game, I'm making it easier. I'm making it easier because it's hard. So I'm going to place all 3 Emergence cards on top of the environment to give me 3 rounds in the beginning to hopefully get a few things built up. We're ready to go. See if we can make it through the game efficiently enough to be able to take down Tyrannosaurus Rex and become the apex predator here in the hunting grounds before we all become extinct. We're ready to start the first round. And we start by drawing an environment card. Well, we know what the first ones are going to be, but let's take a look at the nice art on here also. And it says hatch a card and draw a card. Let's do that first. Hatch means we're going to hatch a card to our hatchery. And we simply do that by drawing the first card or the top card of our Apex deck. And we can see we've drawn a Titan Slayer. And this is the cost it would be to purchase that card in Emergence points, or Evolve points, sorry. It would be 7. This is its hunt value, or amount of damage it can do, and then a special ability. We'll worry about those if we're able to purchase it, but when you draw or hatch it, it goes into the hatchery face up so we know it's available for us to possibly purchase. Ambush effects on cards are not activated, and boss cards are immediately recycled when repopulating the game trail for the entire round. And the meaning of that will become more evident in just a moment. This is the camera angle that I'll use for the majority of the game because we can see the game trail, the evolve pool, we can see our nesting grounds clearly, we can see the cards that are in my hand over here, we can see the bottom of the environment card. This blank area up here is the elimination pile, and that's where cards go if they're eliminated. Sometimes they come back from there, but for the most part they stay eliminated. So we can see just about everything that we need to see. We've revealed our environment card, and now we're going to populate the game trail. We draw the first card, and it's one of the T-Rex's minions. And we look, and we would do the ambush normally, but thanks to our Emergence card, we do not do the ambush during this initial round, or during this entire round. And next we have a prey card. And then if an alert happens, then we would do the alerts that are on the cards. And you can see this 2 here, that's how many hunt points we would need to generate in order to get this card. And I didn't say that for the minion. The minion is 9, so the T-Rex's minions are tough. And if we do hunt him, we have to look and see if there's a hunt, because if you hunt something and it has a hunt text on the card, you have to perform that also. And next we have a menace. Again, it would have an ambush of eliminating a hatchling in my hand, but I don't have to do that this round due to the emergence. And finally, one of the titans. Huge dinosaurs. Comes into play. And you fill the game trail from right to left when you're bringing the cards out. Next, the evolve pool. Same way. And on these, this is how many evolve points they cost to purchase the card, and then they each do their action depending on when you use it. And we got another metabolic growth. This time we got a metabolic transformation that costs 6. And I'll explain these better soon. And then we got acute alertness that cost 2. And that'll fill up our evolve pool. Next we would play any alert cards that we had in our hand, which we do not have any at this time. And alert cards are bad, because if you have one and you have to play it, if you have any cards in your ambush point, which I'll explain just a minute, then discard all of them and add the alert, and the alert effect is activated on all cards on the game trail from left to right. And then you would return it to this deck after you played it out of your hand. And you have to play the alert card at this point of the round if you have one or more than one. We don't have any cards in our ambush point, so we can set up an ambush. And to do so, you take Apex cards that have at least some hunt value on them, like this juvenile. And you can play anywhere from 1 to 3, and you put them into the ambush point. Normally you put them face down, because in a multiplayer game you don't want other players knowing what you're doing. But if I put any here in the ambush point, I'll play them face up, since we're not playing against anybody other than the boss that's here in the hunt deck. If I move any of those cards to the ambush point, I have to take an alert card that will go into my discard pile, which means I will draw it later on at some time. So you have to balance out, do I have an alert card yet? How many cards do I still have to draw from? Because you could set up a nice ambush, but if you draw that alert card from your draw pile and have to play it, all that you saved is wiped out and you lost all those hunt points that you could have used. So you have to weigh your options and figure it out. I don't set up a lot of ambushes early in the game. I usually save those for later in the game when I know this deck is depleted and I'm getting ready to go after the boss. In this case, it's going to be the T-Rex. So I'm not going to set up an ambush of any kind. Next, we can play cards from our hand. We don't have any cards other than cards with evolve points on them or cards with hunt. We don't have any of these cards yet to play, so we're not going to play any of those. And you want to hunt first, because as soon as you play evolve points, you can no longer hunt. So you have to hunt first, unless you don't want to. And to hunt, they're going to play cards, and you can see I have a total of 5 hunt points available for me to play. And I'm going to look at the game trail, and I have 2 that I could go after. I have this 5 hunt total menace and this 2 hunt total prey. The prey, let me grab these both to show you what I'm looking at to make my decision. The prey is going to be worth 2 evolve points to me if I successfully hunt it. And the menace is also worth 2. If I hunt it, I have to reveal the top card of the Affliction deck. If it's a flesh wound, I'll add it to my discard pile. And by adding afflictions to your pile, it clogs up your deck when you would otherwise. Now the reason I would go after that is the menace is worth 2 victory points at the end of the game, and the prey here, and they all have names, but I'm not going to struggle to say the names. I mean, probably would be entertaining, but the prey is only worth 1 victory point, which I would like more victory points, but I don't want to possibly gain something that's clogging up my deck early on. So I'll play my juvenile, which is going to give me 2 hunt points, and I can take out this prey. Gallimimus. No, see, there I'm struggling already. I'm not going to do it. What happens is this card now goes into my hoard down here, face up. And I can use those 2 evolve points that are on it to make purchases. I have 3 hunt points left. Whenever anything is eliminated, everything slides to the right. I can't do anything with 3 hunt points, so those are not going to really get used this time. But then I have my carcasses that I can use to evolve, and I have a total of 2 evolve points. I could use this one also to give me 4. So we have a couple things to choose from here. I could purchase this for 2. You may take a card from your hand or discard pile and add it to your ambush point without gaining alert cards. See that can come in handy later in the game. You'll be able to add things to this without gaining alert cards. This 6 I can't purchase. I don't have enough, so we'll look at it at a later time when it comes up. But I could spend 3 to get metabolic growth. You may gain one of your hatchlings from the elimination pile and add it to your hand. All hatchlings played this round have 2 hunt value instead of just the 1. This card is really useful for getting hatchlings back that are eliminated. And even if there are none to get back, you can boost them, which will give you more hunt points for that round. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to spend the 2 that I have here in my hoard. When you spend these, they get turned face down into your den, and they're there for victory point purposes at the end of the game. That was 2. Then I'll spend 1 of my prey carcasses for a total of 3. Gain metabolic growth. And when you gain a card, it goes into your discard pile. These will slide down. I only have 1 left. That's not going to do me any good. At this point, you would play all the cards from your hand, which I don't have enough points to do anything. And then all of these go to the discard pile. At this time, we would draw 6 new cards. I just realized that I did not draw a card when I did my emergence. So I didn't mix these up yet. So that would have been on my draw pile. So I should have drawn one before I started, which would have been this carcass. So I'll put it in the discard pile. That way our count is correct. And now I'll draw 6 new cards. 5 here, which means I have to shuffle my discard pile. I knew something was wrong there because there's only 12 in the draw pile to start, and you take 6 in the beginning, so I should not have had 6 because 1 should have been drawn at the beginning when I got the emergence with the environment card. So now we have 6 drawn. Let's see what we got. We got hatchling, egg, another prey carcass. Oh, we got the Titan carcass, that's worth 3. And then another hatchling. That'll be our hand for the next round. We're not done finishing up the round yet. So we discarded our cards, we drew 6. Now we reset the hatchery. Recycle by turning the card face down and putting it on the bottom of the deck. And the same thing happens for the game trail. The last card gets recycled, placed on the bottom. Everything moves over. Same with the evolve. It gets recycled onto the bottom. And finally, the same thing will happen with our environment deck. It will get placed on the bottom. And we're ready to begin our next round. We start with our environment card, and we already know it's an emergence card, which means we'll hatch a card. This time we're hatching a Titan Slayer, another one. Isn't that what we just had? Let me look at the bottom of the deck. Yep, okay. Just making sure I didn't put it in the wrong spot. So, we hatch another Titan Slayer. And this time, like it says, we'll draw a card and we'll get another prey carcass. We'll put that right here with that one. We will repopulate our game trail with these two spots. We have another prey card. 3 to hunt. Gives us 3 evolve points. And another Titan. So we got 2 Titans out there. 8 and also worth 8. Now we'll do the same thing. This is the first time we've seen Dynamic Vitality that costs 3. You may draw a card and eliminate up to 2 Affliction cards. That comes in very useful if you start getting deck clogging Affliction cards. And it says eliminate up to 2. That can be either in your hand or your discard pile. So you can even get rid of them if they're in your discard pile. And we got another egg. And eggs cost 2. It allows you to hatch a card and you may draw a card, it says. You don't have to. And that may comes in to play if you know you have alerts in your deck and you may not want to wipe out an ambush that you have set up. Speaking of ambushes, we can now set one up if we want to. At this time I don't want to set an ambush up, and before I hunt I can play an evolve card, and I'll do so by playing an egg, which lets me hatch a card, and we'll hatch a harvester that costs 4. If there's a Titan card in the game trail, then you may gain a carcass card from the elimination pile or your discard pile and add it to your hand. That's really useful, and he's also worth 2 hunt points, and he costs 4 to obtain. And I may draw a card, and I will. And we drew our metabolic growth, which we don't have any hatchlings in the elimination pile, but all the hatchlings we play this round will be worth 2 hunt points, which we have 3 hatchlings here, which would be worth a total of 6 hunt points, which means we could take down that menace. But I don't know if it's worth it this early in the game, because then we're going to take a possible Affliction card into our hand. We're definitely going to play Metabolic Growth. That way our hatchlings are worth 2 apiece, but I'm debating the only 2 that I can go after successfully would be this menace, and we might take a wound and it gives us 2 victory points, or this prey that's worth 1 victory point and give us 1 victory point and gives us 3. I just don't think it's worth taking an Affliction right now just for that extra victory point, because I'm worried about taking down the T-Rex more than I am victory points. So I will hunt with 2 hatchlings that are worth 4 thanks to our metabolic growth. And that'll give me enough to take down this prey card, Tyrannosaurus. Add that to my horde. And I currently have 5 evolve points. Do I want to get this harvester, or is there something more important here? I don't have Affliction cards yet. I don't have enough for metabolic transformation. I could get another egg. Acute alertness. I think I want to get some attack though, while I can. So I'll spend 4, get the harvester. And then when he plays, if there's a Titan card out there, like there are Titan cards out there now, then I can get a carcass card from the elimination pile or my discard pile and put it into my hand, which can help me make purchases later. And that would be it. These 2 cards will not get used. They'll get discarded. We got 5, which means we need to shuffle our discard pile to get up to 6. Let's see what we have for our next round. Hatchling, we got our juvenile, prey carcasses, and a couple more hatchlings. We're going to clean up our hatchery. If we had more than 1 card there, you can put them underneath in any order that you want to. We're going to recycle the last cards in the game trail and the evolve pool. Should probably get some more eggs so I can get more things from my hatchery. We'll recycle our environment card, even though we know what's coming next. We start with our environment card, which will be our last emergence. Now the environment cards are going to start hurting us. So we can hatch a card, and it's another harvester. We're already familiar with him. And we can draw, and it's another hatchling. So now I have 4 hatchlings and a juvenile, plenty of hunting. Now we will repopulate the game trail. We got a Triceratops, big game. Gotta be careful when hunting him. Can do some damage to us. And then we have the Predator. Again, have to be careful when hunting. We don't have to do the ambush ability. And another egg comes into play. I'm not going to set up an ambush. I am going to use all of my available hunting cards, which is going to give me 6 total. Play all of those. And I'm going to go after the Triceratops because he's worth 4 evolve points. He's worth 2 victory points. This Predator's worth 5, but I want the evolve points right now. I don't want to wait. And when you hunt a Triceratops, I have to reveal the top card of the Affliction deck. If it is a flesh wound, add it to your discard pile. I'll put him down here. And it is a flesh wound. So we will end up adding this to our discard pile. The damage really doesn't apply because we can't die. That really only applies to the boss and in the multiplayer game. We have 2 prey carcasses that we can spend 2 on, and I'm going to purchase an egg. And that will do it for us. I don't have any more cards in my hand. Before I do that, I could purchase this harvester. I will. I'll spend my 4 from Triceratops to purchase the harvester. That way we have a couple of them available now. And we'll draw our next 6. And we're going to get an egg, one of our harvesters, 2 prey carcasses, metabolic growth, and a hatchling. There's nothing to reset in the hatchery. We do have to recycle our game trail and our evolve pool. Everything moves down. And we'll recycle our last emergence, which means now we're going to have to deal with a real environment card in our next turn or in our next round. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to click on these links and check out the other videos on the channel. If you like what you see, please consider supporting the channel through Patreon or by clicking on the link to my GoFundMe page for one-time donations in the video description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and please leave some comments. Your support is appreciated, and I'll see you in my next video.